Hello guys, what's up? It's Ashiramir here. We are back with another character newbie friendly guide for Duet Night Abyss. Today we're going to be discussing Lady Nifle. Now Lady Nifle is a range skill based DPS. Her whole thing is about debuffs and destroying everything in her path. She's got two core skills, Lunar Hunt and Solar Eclipse, both of which are going to be pretty much alternating between each other once used. She also has a really nice ultimate skill called Misty Sea Requiem. Now, her gameplay is simple, but timing matters. You want to stay back from most of the fights. She's not a brawler. You don't want to be someone that's up close and personal with your enemies unless you're absolutely stuck in a situation where you have no other choice. Open with your debuffs, slow or weaken enemies, and then you pop Misty Sea Requiem when you're ready to actually start bursting. You want to spam your skill loop while her ult's active. That's where she nukes everything on the screen. But outside of her ult, you need to watch your sanity, because if you drain it too fast, she'll drop off and her damage will fall to almost nil, nothing. Keep that in mind as you go forward, because there are going to be some situations where you're going to be in some solo boss fights where you will have damage fall off due to how quickly you are spamming your abilities. Now, Lunar Hunt and Solar Eclipse are very nice skills, and once used, each one alternates off of each other. Lunar Hunt will deal Umbro damage, and Solar Eclipse will deal Lumino damage. You can see here, I'm almost done with this hedge mission, just kind of showcasing here what the actual skills look like. They are very powerful, and they have a really nice range with the build that I currently have. Now we're going to go into some of the nitty-gritty bits and pieces about what she does. We're going to go into a little bit more detail here. So, let's talk shop. She's a Lumino character. She deals Lumino attack. Her HP doesn't necessarily need to be that high, but having her at a decent HP will make her more survivable. Shield is great, defense is important. You definitely want to have a high sanity capacity in order to establish her skill spam. Her primary weapons are going to be katana and pistol, strictly single-handed pistol, just to be sure. You want to focus on skill damage. You want to have skill range. You want to try to go for as much skill damage and range as possible and try to keep your efficiency as probably somewhere around like the 33% balance amongst all of this. Now, there's a skill that I mentioned before, Lunar Hunt. You create one Lunar Hunt and this skill gets replaced with Solar Eclipse. Lunar Hunt itself deals unbro damage to all enemies within a range upon spawn and reduces their movement speed by X%, depending on level. Solar Eclipse is going to replace itself once used after Lunar Hunt. Solar Eclipse will deal Lumino damage to all enemies within a range upon creation and reduces their attack by X%, depending on level. Going into the details is going to cost you about 11 sanity with this build that I currently have. The damage radius is going to be important, especially for Lunar Hunt. Going into the Solar Eclipse, that is also going to be important for skill damage. Solar Eclipse is where your damage is going to pop off. Lunar Hunt is where your ability to have good range is going to come a part of the play. Next, we're going to discuss a little bit about the passives in a little bit, but we're going to get to the ultimate, the Misty Sea Requiem. Now, with this being activated, you'll enter what's known as Funeral Rite status. When you're in this mode, your skill range, if it exceeds 100%, the excess is converted into skill damage at a fixed ratio, and skill range is reduced to 100% for the duration of the ultimate. While under this status, you gain trigger probability, otherwise known as status chance, increased for ranged weapons. Lunar Hunt and Solar Eclipse no longer cost sanity, so they're effectively zero cost for both alternations. Lunar Hunt will pull enemies towards its center, and Solar Eclipse will deal massive damage. However, the ultimate will end early if you cast Lunar Hunt or Solar Eclipse a total of 6 times, or you just wait out the duration of the effect. It lasts about 15 seconds, but if you're not using your skills in that time, I don't know what you're doing. Probably want to look at that. You want to enhance the range as much as possible so that range gets converted into damage. Looking at our passive here, we have Interwoven Cries. Based on the user's trigger probability for ranged weapons, casting Lunar Hunt has a chance to spawn a Solar Eclipse at the same location, which in turn may spawn another Lunar Hunt. Now what this means is you effectively get a double cast scenario. The more that you have status chance or trigger probability for your ranged weapons, the more likely you are able to double cast or even multicast Lunar or Solar Eclipse. That means that your effect trigger probability is going to trigger Lumino effects as well as Umbro effects with this passive activated with when you have rain when the sky ran gold. Now, with all this said, the Intron levels are going to help a lot because you have interwoven cries, effect trigger probabilities increased by 15%. You have the double cast bonus, so when a target is hit by either skill, they take 75% more damage. You have the level ups for the Lunar Hunt and the interwoven cries. You have healing receive whenever you cast certain abilities, and sanity recovery is increased by 25%. Misty Sea Requiem gets another 2 levels, Interwoven Cries gets another 1, and the last one, which is the most important one, when dealing damage with a ranged weapon, there's a 25% chance to cast Lunar Hunt or Solar Eclipse at the target location upon receiving damage. All in all, you want to be sure that Lady Nifle crushes the fights where you can stay mobile and keep your distance. Perfect for crowd control. Perfect for boss phases where you have situations where you're going to be in a very wide area where you can move around and still be free. In close quarters chaos, she struggles to maintain uptime. She's a finesse pick, not a face tank. Please remember that. So yeah, Lady Nifle is all about control, burst, and precision. Build her right, manage your sanity, and she'll carry fights with a ghostly style. If this helped, check out that like button and go ahead and subscribe. And drop your Lady Nifle builds in the comments. I want to see what setups you guys are running, because I know mine is not perfect, but I want to see what you guys have. Tell me the style that you play with. Is it that you focus more on the ultimate, or do you focus more on the skills before the ultimate? Do you set up first? Do you even pop your ultimate to get the fight started? Let me know in the comments. And with that being said, that is going to be it for this video about Lady Nifle. My name is Ashura Miru, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Deuces.